Recording to the cloud. All right, guys, let's get started. I gotta turn my phone off. I'm so excited to talk about this topic because I feel like it's been just something I've kept in my business over every single month, I would say, and like without having a beginner's mindset is what our topic is. I feel like your business can so quickly become so boring and so stagnant, and like you just lose momentum. You lose a lot of things that you don't want to lose. So I'm going to start out and just share with you guys like what is a beginner's mindset first of all, because I know when I first heard beginner's mindset, I was just kind of like, that sounds weird. I don't really understand it. Like, sorry, my Facebook notifications are being loud. I'm going to turn these off really quick. But yeah, I just like didn't really understand what that was. And actually the first time I heard it was in yoga teacher training. And if you go to yoga teacher training, you're probably going to hear it too. It's really awesome the way that they explain it and like express it to you there. But so I wrote down a lot of like just definitions for myself of what I think a beginner's mindset is. So a beginner's mindset says, I am not an expert at everything. I'm always learning, and I added always implementing. I might not know it all. So like when you go into any situation, it's not, it's having a humbleness, it's having a willingness to be open to other people's ideas or other ways of doing things. I'm willing to try. I might fail, but I'll get back up again. So this like example, I was thinking of skiing for some reason, like water skiing, because my family grew up water skiing. And when I was really little, I tried to do it. And my dad always reminded me, like just think of the very first time that you learned how to ski every single time you do it, because like it's so important to remember how to engage your different muscles and like stand up and let the water pull you up in the boat and all this stuff. And that's really like what I'm saying, you're willing to try this out and realize that like you might fail, you might fall flat on your face into the water and do a couple like somersaults and get water up your nose, but you will get back up again, and just keep doing that over and over and over again. So the next thing is I'm willing to try something new instead of doing the same thing over and over that might not be working. So if you guys have ever heard this quote, I love it. It's, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over and like not realizing that it's not working, and expecting a different result. Because like if we're doing the same thing and it's not working, like why would we be expecting something new to happen? So like with our businesses, if you're doing stuff and it's not working, like be willing to try something new, like go back to this beginner's mindset and try something different on for size and see what happens. And then the last thing is I'm excited about what I'm doing. So this one we're going to dive a lot more into, but when you start out as a coach, and especially when you start out as a client, you find yourself, especially if you are a coach now and you were a client first, you're so excited, right? Like about all the programs and your journey and the weight loss or your results, like building muscle, whatever it is that's happening in your body. Like you're just stoked about it, and you're probably stoked about the community. So in this beginner mindset, you're constantly excited. You're constantly like in that state you were when you first did your first program, and you're genuinely excited about it. It's not just like something you're trying to make up. So now I want to dive into just like a few ways of actually implementing a beginner's mindset into your business. Because like I said before, it is so key. And if I lose this beginner's mindset, like the months that I've really struggled in my business were definitely the months that I lost this mindset and I went back to just like kind of being prideful and thinking like, oh, I've got it all together. I know it all. And a lot of people have even asked me before, like, you seem like you always have it all together. And I'm like, no, I don't. I really don't. And that's a good thing, because it keeps you in this state of like constantly learning, constantly growing, and being willing to fail. So number one, how we can implement this in our business is as a challenger. So this is also commonly known and like shared as staying in phase one. I know Rob Pearson talked about that on our diamond retreat to all the diamonds. And basically I want you guys to like ask yourself, am I loving and excited about the program I'm doing? Why or why not? Like just kind of do a check-in with yourself, because if you're not loving it, then you probably won't share it. And like sharing it is our job. So if you're not loving the program that you're doing, like, you need to figure out a way to love it. You need to find something about it. And maybe that means changing programs. If it's during a launch period, then I highly recommend always using the launch, using the brand new program to hype people up and get excited. So my like quick tip for getting stoked about your program and your nutrition and your results, again, is find one thing. You can even do two things, but like just challenge yourself to get creative and find one thing that you like absolutely love about the program that's either being released or that you're starting. So like for an example, for me, when I started MM100, I first heard about it and I was like, this is going to be a cool program because I love Jericho and she was the one in it. And I had done a program with her before, but I really didn't know much else from that. And so I was a little nervous when I heard like the 100 workouts. I was like, holy crap, like that's a lot of workouts. I don't know if people are going to like that. I was honestly like a little turned away from it at first because I thought like, just 100 workouts is such a huge goal to like tackle and accomplish, especially as a beginner. But I like got that beginner mindset on and I went back and I like asked myself, what is like one or two things that I can attach myself to and really like fall in love with and get excited about so that I can genuinely go on social media and share those things. So the one thing I latched onto is I have a huge background with music, and this is a beat-driven, music-driven program. So like I've been utilizing that since day one. Before even like doing a workout, I've been utilizing that. And then the other thing was I flipped 100 on its head and I said, well, what's bad about long-term? Isn't long-term the goal? Aren't we aiming for a healthy lifestyle rather than like a quick fix or a diet? Then 100 is awesome rather than, 21 days, because it's going to help people commit and get rid of the perfectionist mindset. So that's like how I want you guys to start thinking about this kind of stuff, like in these programs. If you're struggling with it or a new launch is coming out and you're like, I don't really know, how to share this, or like, I'm not super excited about it. Like challenge yourself, go do some research, like dig deep into the program and figure out like what resonates with you in your journey, and like attach that to yourself and make it something that you're truly excited and passionate about and able to share. And then the last thing that I figured out with MM100 is when I was really applying myself and like doing the program, I was seeing like bomb ass results, and I am seeing like incredible results. And so now I'm able to share that with people. So really like apply yourself just like you would as if it was your very first program ever. And I know like for Riley it is, but like apply yourself with that excitement, because you're going to see the results, and then like your nutrition is going to be better and everything's going to be better. You're just going to be more excited about it if you think back to like when you were a first client or first challenger, and it won't be so mundane. It won't be boring. You probably won't be like tired out from it, because I know there are rough seasons in our businesses or hard seasons in life, and you're just like barely scraping by. So really dive into that with your like fitness journey and your challenge. So number 2 is with boot camps, having a beginner's mindset with boot camps. So asking yourself, again, you kind of just do the same process for everything. Like every topic we go over, we're going to go over the same process. So always ask yourself like the question, like, why did I fall in love in the beginning with my first accountability group? Like, what was it that really turned me on to my accountability group? Like, was I stoked about it? Obviously you were, because you're a coach now. So like, why? And are you right now currently stoked or excited about the boot camp that you're either running or that you're a part of? And why or why not? Because if you're not, then it's like the same thing as before. You're not going to share it on social media. You're not going to be authentically excited. People are going to like watch your stories if you are sharing about it, and they're going to be like, she's bull crapping me. Like, that is not true. Like, people, I know social media is like a barrier, but like people can read into our stories and be like, oh, she's like not, like, this isn't real, like she's not seriously honest or whatever. So we want people to trust us, and we have to be authentic about these things. So like, it is our job as coaches to like figure it out. Like, go into your challenge group and figure out, why aren't people engaging? Ask yourself that question, like, why wouldn't I be engaging? So like, a quick tip on keeping your engagement up, because that's the main thing, right? Like that's the main thing we're all focused on, and really like we get frustrated with when the engagement is really low. So I encourage you guys to go to that beginner mindset and get creative. So try something new, because I promise you probably haven't done everything in your challenge group. Like I know we get frustrated and we get to a spot in some moments where we're like, oh, I've literally done everything. These girls aren't engaging. Like I'm a terrible coach. And it's like, no, back up, go to the beginner's mindset and ask yourself, like, what would make me excited? What could I try that I've never tried before? Or what maybe did I do in the beginning that I stopped doing now? And then also like do research. Guys, we have so many resources. It is ridiculous. Like it's overwhelming. I feel like how many resources we have now compared to like when I started as a coach. You can go to the Beachbody Champions page. If you've not been invited to that, all you have to do is just like let me know and I can invite you to it. But it's just like the corporate Team Beachbody kind of training page for coaches. And just use that little search bar in the corner. Like it's so helpful. That page is incredible. I've used that for so much. You can go to the online coach office and like search resources for how to liven up your challenge groups, or maybe how they recommend speaking to your challengers, or like they oftentimes have really awesome YouTube videos that you can share with your challengers. So there's YouTube. You can also look up YouTube. There's team calls, there's trainings, there's a national wake up call. Like there are so many resources where you can like find different and new ideas and ways to get your people engaged. And like really when it comes down to it, like if you're not willing to dive into that and do that research, like you're kind of being lazy and you got to kick your booty in gear. So just an example of this, like when I think back to my challenge and my first time being in it, I posted all the time. Like I probably posted like twice a day, and I was like the annoying girl, but I like loved when Carly did live videos. I loved giveaways. I loved recipes. Like I wanted like tangible tools to help me do all the things. So like ask yourself that same question and then write it down, implement it in your challenge group. And I like promise you it will be so much better. You've just got to like switch things up. Oh, I also loved when new people were added, because I'm like I love connecting with new people. So like maybe you just need to get new people in your challenge group. And then number 3, so applying this beginner's mindset to the third thing is really when we dive into our coaching business, like the work that we do as coaches. So in your conversations, like, are you coming into the conversation assuming and kind of like negative maybe, or assuming, you know, what the other person is going to say, how they're going to respond to you? Maybe, you know, it's a coworker or a past friend from high school or college, and you like go into the conversation and you're just like, oh, they're probably going to say no. Like, no, that's not good. Like we need to flip that around. And with a beginner's mindset, it's literally everything I just said, you guys. Like, you have to go through it and ask yourself the question, you know, like, how would I want to be approached? How would I want to be talked to? Am I talking like that? Why or why not? Like, what's the missing link? What's going wrong? And then also just remember, like, beginners are so excited about coaching when they first start out that all they're trying to do is help. They're only trying to help people. You know, like you go into a conversation and you'd be like, oh my gosh, like tell me your struggles. I want to help you. Like, let me help you with your goals. Like, what are your goals? So, I mean, don't word vomit on people. Like, bring your wisdom from everything you've learned in your journey as a coach and how to talk to people. But like, keep that beginner's mindset, because again, it's keeping the excitement. It's keeping like your passion. It's keeping your willingness to be authentic and vulnerable, and people will start to trust that and like get to know that, and they feel your authenticity, and they'll know like you're trying your best. Like they'll see that. So I'm just going to jump to the next one, because you guys are kind of probably getting like what you do with each one as you have this beginner's mindset, each like topic, I guess. So number 4 is PD. And if you guys are really like listening closely, you can probably see that like these are pretty much the 4 vital behaviors, right? Like, so I want you guys to bring the beginner mindset into all the vital behaviors of being a coach. And the reason I talk about the 4 vital behaviors so much is because they're the vital behaviors. Like, they have gotten every single successful coach to where they are today, you know? So like, why would we talk about anything else, right? If like implementing those things is really probably the biggest challenge we all have, then here's another way to do it. So with PD, I would say like the same exact thing. This one is going to be really similar with your program that you're working through. So again, do that check-in, ask yourself, am I loving my PD? Am I excited about my PD? Is my PD helping me? Why or why not? And you like in every single one of these circumstances, I don't know if you've noticed this, but you like taking the beginner's mindset as opposed to like just assuming that the conversation is wrong or that the boot camp is just blowing up and it's not your fault, or that maybe your program just isn't a good program. It's kind of taking the victim mindset and the victim stance. And like, that's what we're avoiding, because life is happening for us, not to us. Like life is happening, it's in our favor. And so having this beginner mindset is literally like acting that out in our lives and in our businesses. So like with PD, don't think like there's something wrong with my PD. No, it's like, maybe there's something wrong with me. Maybe there's something in me that I actually need to work on. And maybe that's like my pride kicking in. And if it's just that you're not resonating with your PD, it might be the wrong season for the book that you're reading. It might be that you need to like change things up. But I would highly encourage you, before changing your PD and just kind of like dropping it and assuming that like the problem is with the PD, go back to the beginner's mindset and like ask yourself, all those questions like, am I looking for something that I can take away every single day in each chapter? Or am I just kind of like zooming through it and kind of assuming like I know everything? Like I'm probably not going to get anything from this book. Are you like excited and passionate about the stuff you're reading and really taking time to intentionally like hear what it's saying? Or are you just going through it like the motions and like, I didn't really want to do PD today, but I'm just doing it to get through it. The more that you bring this like beginner's mindset to every single area we've talked about of your business, and like especially PD as well, the more like you're going to thrive in your business and the more fun you'll have with your business. So yeah, like really all in all, the more that you're sharing, the more that you're letting people know about the opportunities we have, whether it's within a boot camp or within the coaching opportunity. And so much of what I've said within each of these topics is like, if you're not excited and you're not in this beginner phase, you're not going to share it, or you're not going to want to. So it's not going to come across authentic. And like I just said, so much of what we do is sharing. Like the more we share, the more we invite, the more we connect, like the better our business does. No matter if like everybody that we ask to join us says no, the more that we ask, the better our business does. Like it's so simple. And we just love to overcomplicate things. So highly encourage you guys, to really give yourself a gut check tonight. Like even when we get off the call, dive into each one of these topics and ask yourself, like, is there a way that I can be a better beginner? Is there a way that I can bring this like phase one mindset into this area of my business? Because you might really be doing great with like all three. And then maybe there's like one area where you're like super struggling with. And if you can just like tighten that up, your business, like everything else will rise, right? Like if we just tighten up our nutrition in one little area that we're messing up, like our whole entire health journey rises and gets better. And then like the last thing I just wanted to say was, the more genuine and authentic we can be in sharing our journey on social media, like that's the goal, right? Because when people know us, they begin to like us, and then they begin to trust us. And that's like the natural progression of signing someone up. Like that's how you hit Success Club. Go on social media and share your story. People start to like you, and the people that you resonate with will come and find you, and you'll have to go out and find them as well. And then you build that relationship of trust, and then boom, Success Club. Like so simple. So I'm just going to leave you guys with a quote lastly. And it says, the moment we lose our childlike awe and excitement for whatever we're doing, we've lost all humility. We've lost all ability to open ourselves up to others. So when you think about this business, like it is a relational business. So much of like what we do day in and day out is connecting with people, whether it's on Zoom or in social media, like Instagram stories, phone calls. And we really want to make ourselves like open We want to be open-hearted, open-minded to like other people's perspectives, other people's ideas, non-judgmental. Like we want to help, and people don't want help from somebody that's like sitting on the sidelines like, oh, I know it all and I'm just going to judge you over here and I'm going to assume that you don't know it all, right? So I hope this was helpful for you guys. I know it's kind of like a quick one, but I feel like it's just so important. And I could talk about like having a beginner's mindset and bringing it into like 3,000 areas. Like I know I just shared like basically the 4 vital behaviors with the beginner's mindset, but yeah, like literally any problem or struggle you're facing in your business, like think about that beginner's mindset, and I promise it'll bring like the joy back into your business, the fun, and like success, like true success. Because like I said, people read into your stories and like will hear you being authentic or inauthentic. So if you have any questions, you guys can just unmute yourselves unless you want to chat in the chat, but I'm just going to read through. I literally have like all the drinks in front of me right now.
It's so funny because my friends call me Bev because I always have at least 2 or 3 drinks with me at all times. So that's my nickname. The other day I was FaceTiming a friend and I'm like, I literally have 4 cups of water on my desk right now.
Yes, that's so cute. I like that, Bev. Like, I feel like I would name my child that. That's like really cute. I love what you said in the chat. We set ourselves up for failing by doubting ourselves before we even give ourselves a chance. Yeah, like that can go both ways. Like when you're talking to someone else, like you're setting them up for failure, and if you're assuming what their response is going to be, and then you're also setting yourself up by failure if you're like already coming into things doubting or like assuming what the outcome is going to be. Ooh,
I feel like
Jordan,
you're not going to trust yourself as a coach. If you are already doubting yourself, like you're not going to trust in your own abilities to coach that person properly. So you're not giving them a chance to like be a good recruit or a good client or a good coach underneath you. And you're not setting yourself up to be a good teacher for them either.
Yeah, totally.
And that Jordan Bowman live was seriously, it's short, but it was so good. Like I watched the whole thing start to finish. I'm probably going to watch it again later because it was unreal.
It's like one of the best.
It's so funny. It's almost like Carly. Yeah. It's almost like Carly saw my post the other day where I'm like,